Hi, my name is Eva and welcome to the Shamanic Facets of Pregnancy and Birth group. I started this new group because my old profile was hacked and everything was gone on Facebook and I was unable to get back in. So I think that my other groups and pages will all be gone along with my profile when it goes, if it hasn't already gone. So with this group, I thought it would be really nice to keep up with what I did in the old group, where we do a live, hopefully inspiring talk once a month or once a week, as regular as can be, with a birth practitioner or shamanic practitioner or celebrant, or even a parent, if you've got an experience that you want to share. To just do either a recording or a live chat. This was going to be live, but I was unable to. I've just been out walking my dog and I thought that I'd be able to do it there, and then it just wasn't working, it wasn't loading. So I'm just sitting in my car now doing a recording, because as soon as I get indoors I'm going to be mobbed by my children who are currently doing their schoolwork on the computer. So I'm not going to be able to do a talk, especially not live, without lots of distractions. So I thought if I do it like this, then at least there's a talk, even though it's not live. So it's about birth being a ceremony. Birth is a ceremony. Life is a ceremony. Life and birth are sacred, and every day that you wake up is a ceremony, opening your eyes, and then you have all the little rituals that are woven in between that you do every day. And where am I going with this? Birth is a rite of passage. You can see that I haven't prepared for this talk at all. I'm just doing it ad hoc. But yeah, birth is a rite of passage, and birth isn't easy. Sometimes we have really easy births, sometimes we don't, but birthing a baby, whether you are having a cesarean birth, or you are having a natural vaginal birth, or somewhere in between with assistance, it is all a rite of passage, and it is all part of your ceremony and the ceremony of your child coming into this world and coming through you. And that space needs to be sacred. It needs to be held. We all know that it needs to be held and safe for oxytocin to come through, but it also needs to be safe and held for the spiritual perspective as well. In lots of different cultures, we see birth as, who am I to talk about other cultures actually? I'm English, I'm Dutch, I'm European, but I do a lot of research and a lot of reading, and I've been a shamanic practitioner and interested in rites of passage from a pagan perspective for like 20 years. So I can only speak from my own perspective and from the things that I've experienced and learned about. But birth, when you give birth, you open spiritually, you open physically to bring through your physical, your baby, but you're also opening spiritually and energetically. And I don't know if you've ever seen sometimes when women through the last few weeks and days of their labour, their energy starts to quicken. It starts to get it calms, but it does this kind of, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It kind of sparkles, it kind of does this. And then that their energy field is beginning to prepare, beginning to open. Perhaps the baby is a bit closer to them and a bit closer into coming into life. Sometimes the baby takes a long time to come into to really be with their body. Sometimes it happens at birth, Sometimes it happens just after birth. Sometimes it happens in the womb. It's different for everybody, just as birth is different for everybody. Just as when we leave this life, you know, for some people death takes 5 days or a day. Sometimes their spirit's gone before their body dies. Sometimes it goes with the body. You know, it's so different for everybody, and depending on our individual circumstances. And for the baby, a lot of it can also depend on not only their own experiences, their lives, their energy, what they're here for, but also the vessel that is their mother that they're coming through. So there's lots of things to think about spiritually, shamanically, when we give birth. And from a doula perspective, I see my role as not just supporting the mum emotionally and helping her to feel empowered, but also to protect that birth space. Not only from physical, to keep it how she needs it to be for her oxytocin to flow, but also, and to keep up her energy levels with food and all the physical things that you need, and to keep it calm. But it's also protecting the space spiritually. So I'm tuning in a lot into her energy field, and you know, how is that doing? How is the baby? Is the baby okay? And I mean, I don't interfere. I don't connect. That sounds like I'm, you know, it's not my birth, but just kind of sitting and observing and sensing and just seeing what is needed. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that in a lot of cultures, in a lot of research, things that I've read. And I should have prepared better for this talk, so I could have given you quotes and chapters and all sorts of things, but I'll do that another time. But yeah, there's I think I've said before, in a book called When Women Were Drummers by Lainey Redmond, there's a section where it was in Egypt, in ancient Egypt. There was a temple, gosh, I can't remember the name of the gods now, but there was a temple where it was a birthing temple, a birthing space, and the corridor leading up to it is lined with women drumming. And then in the birth space, in the centre of the room, is a space where the baby would have fallen to earth. So they fall from the mother straight to earth. And in a lot of cultures, that grounds them. So to touch the earth or to put some earth on them when they're born grounds them. And then obviously it's protected by the women, by the drummers, but they're not just drumming to help the mum to stay in her kind of, you know, to help her move her consciousness out of the way, to tune into what she needs to keep her focused on her birth, and to keep her focused on what she needs to do to rise above each surge. But it also protects the space, calls in the gods, calls in the ancestors that are there to protect the space while the mother and the baby are so vulnerable, and this gateway is open. You know, it protects the space from other beings, other energies to come through that aren't wanted. So it's really important in a lot of ways. And this isn't just Egyptian culture. When I was in New Zealand last year, I picked up a book by a midwife. In fact, I watched a lot of New Zealand documentaries on Maori birth while I was there, because I had access every night when I was going to bed. I was tuning into different things and made loads of notes. And I'm gutted that we can't get those channels here, really. But they see birth as a ceremony as well. And just like the songs of Africa, you know, they have songs in Maori where they sing in the space to protect the space, to call in the baby spirit, to protect the mother. And they do it all through song. And when the baby's born, they sing a soul song as well to the mother. Obviously it's tribe by tribe. Not every tribe, not every family will do this, but it seems very common in a lot of cultures that we do this. Protecting the space with the colour red is also another symbolic thing, where we have mother's blessings. A lot of cultures have mother's blessings to protect the mother through their pregnancy, also to protect the mother through her birth and to help her to feel empowered. And it's also to protect her spiritually. So that red cord that we use in a lot of our mother's blessings isn't just to connect us and bond us, and when we cut the cord we send off a prayer. It's to protect that birthing woman from any malevolent spirit beings, and to protect her baby. So she will wear a belt that's woven by her family with red in it to protect her protect her and her baby. God, there's so many things I could talk about, you know. Also, as I said before in another talk, there's in an anthropology book that my husband's brought home, there's an extract of a man that went to America in 1700, and he witnessed when women before they give birth, they're taken away from the family, from the tribe, and they're just with the women. Then they go to a specific space in nature, and this birthing woman stays there for a while before she gives birth, and she prepares the space. I can't remember how long now, whether it's weeks or months, but it's definitely a few months before the end. She's taken away with the women, and then she prepares her space, and then they go. She's visited once a day just to make sure she's okay and make sure she has what she needs. But she is in her space with just her and her baby and the natural world around her. Now, this is an animistic and totemistic shamanic culture. One that, you know, you really is so vastly different, their beliefs, from what we believe. And so she would be intrinsically connected. She would know how connected she is to the world around her, to the bird that flies past her, to the otter that she maybe sees as she's sitting on a bank, to the rain as it falls from the sky. She knows she's woven into that web of life, and that her baby is also part of this web of life. And so everything that happens around her is a sign from nature for her to feel empowered and strong and draw from for her birth. So again, birth, you know, and in this tribe, he writes actually that this woman birthing on her own, to him may seem alien, but to her family, to her tribe, if she gets through this, when she gets through this, she's going to feel so empowered that sets her benchmark for her parenting for life. You know, that makes her a good parent, the fact that she's birthed and she's come out of it, and she's healthy, her baby's healthy, everything, you know, everything is good. And if she's had obstacles to get through, then that's helped her even more to become a better, stronger parent, and which also helps her within the tribe as well. And again, it's not a culture that I know particularly. I'm just reading a white man's extract from a book. So, but I do know that they know that they are a part of the natural world. We are not separate, and we shouldn't even have the word nature, because it's not that and us. We are nature. We are no different to the animals that are around us. And, you know, it's not just one being that's made the world. The world is made of everything that lives in it. So we've been brought up very differently, haven't we? And therefore those beliefs reflect on our birth as well. And, you know, reflect on our birth experiences. And unfortunately, you know, they say that it takes a village to raise a child. It's so true. We no longer really have that village as such either. So we have to think of other ways to help us to raise our children, and other ways to make birth sacred, and sacred for us. So I think it's really important, no matter what your belief is, whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. But to really get to know your body, really get to know your baby, and to really tune in and connect with that every day, through meditation, through going for walks outside, through connecting with everything around you, your plants, your animals, your other children, your everything, everything that when you go outside, just tune into what's around you, the strength of a tree. Maybe you can at the moment hear the foxes mating and, just tuning into their strength and what's it like for them when they have their babies deep down in the earth. How do they draw on their strength and what do they draw on? And I mean, obviously it's not the same kind of consciousness as us. They don't have, or maybe they do and we're just not aware. Maybe they do connect in with their ancestors and we're not aware. But they still have this, they draw on their intuition and they draw on their instinct, and they know that they need to go off into this space. They know that they need nothing around them, and they know, that they don't know, but their body, if they're in danger, if anything happens to this fox's body will stop the labour until she's ready to labour again, until she's safe again. And humans are the same. We need this safe, secure space to birth our babies, and to see it as a ceremony, to see it as a rite of passage, I think just empowers you even more when you have your baby. And to think not only of you, but of your baby coming through you. And what is this birth for them? What are the choices that they are making for their birth? And how is their birth going to affect their lives? In a lot of cultures, the way a baby is born, and even down to what the weather was doing, and it's sets their foundation for the person that they become later on in life. My niece Nixie was born on the highest tide of the year, on a full moon, and it was really stormy outside, and she was born on call. She was born in the membrane still as she was born. My sister was giving birth to her at home. It was her first home birth, and it was incredibly special. My sister named her Nixie because it means water sprite. My parents live on a boat, which is how we know it was the highest tide of the year, on that full moon. And Nixie in many cultures would be an incredibly special child, and her membranes, really sacred. And she would have probably become the seer or the healer, or somebody very special. And she is incredibly in tune. She's definitely wise for her age. She's only 5 now, and she's definitely 5 going on 14 already. But she is really switched on. And I think when you see birth in that way, when you see how a child's birth, she's also really, really confident as well. My dad calls her Nixie No-No, and that's because she sort of stamps her feet and says no, and she's really quite a powerful spirit already. But her birth was like that. Her birth was powerful, and she was born in that power. Whereas my nephew was born on a new moon, and it was really foggy, and it was like autumn, and I could smell the juniper and the dew through the windows as I was driving over there that evening, and it was just before Samhain. And he was really, when he was born, it took him a long time to come round, and but he's very laid back, he's very chilled out. And he's almost, you could see he's a walker between the worlds. He wasn't quite in this world for a while when he was born. And he still has this vacant look sometimes where he will just calmly just go somewhere else. And then, you know, and he's just, and again, when you think back to how his birth was, I think it kind of reflects that. So you can see when you look at children, obviously it's not always the case, but how important it is to view birth in a sacred way for ourselves as birthing parents, but also for our children. There's lots of ways that you can make birth a ceremony physically as well, by setting the space, whether you're at home or in hospital, whether you're having a cesarean or a completely natural birth, or you're free birthing. You can make your birth sacred. Birth is sacred anyway, but to make it more sacred is to protect the space. You can do that physically through prayer, through song, through chants, through drumming, through lots of different ways, through creating a whole sacred medicine wheel around your birth space, through doing water ceremony, through singing to the water, there are so many different things you can do to protect your space and to create that protected space, and to create a space where the mum can just be and really tune into her body, and prepare for her baby in ceremony as well, in the best possible way for her, to be really connected to her baby, her body, her ancestors, and whatever she feels important to connect to, and however she chooses to give birth, whether that's using hypnobirthing, meditation, dancing, chanting, TENS machine, whatever you're using, you can still create a sacred space for birth. And I think it's, as I keep saying, it's really important to view birth in that way. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. I've just noticed how tired I look, how dry my skin looks. It's a bit of a whirlwind, isn't it, this lockdown? It's hard as well. I'm finding it quite hard. I hope that you guys are all okay. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. If you want to get in touch privately or here, or I'm sorry that this wasn't live as well, but hopefully it will still work. So yeah, I think next time what I'll do when I prepare this is I might do a very similar talk, but actually show you some of the quotes and read out some of the extracts of books and things that I have. I also have a new book that's coming out really soon called Pregnancy by the Moon. Just awaiting cards to be created, and also the book is going to be online really soon as well, separately, so you can either wait for it to come with cards, or you can buy it just online, or you might even be able to download it. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm probably going to do a talk about that, I think, next time. If you want to talk about anything shamanic, if you have a birth experience you want to talk about, then please do. I'd really love to fill this group full of people's experiences. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and have a lovely day, and enjoy this new moon as well. Take care. Bye.